802.1x. This is an authentication protocol. All right, it's an authentication protocol. We use it to give people access to something, right? It could be an endpoint, a web server, some type of network server, some type of network endpoint, something on a network. So let's draw it out though. Okay, so we have Kenny over here, and he wants to log into, we'll just use a web server for simplicity. I don't want to complicate it too much. We're going to keep this really simple. He wants to log into that web server. Can you see the color? Yeah. And we have our radius server. This is an authentication server, right? And since we're dealing with 802.1x, this web server here is going to be called the authenticator. And Kenny over here, he's going to be called the supplicant. Oh, my video is cut. That's fine. I have my clothes on. Okay. All right. So with 802.1x, we have to remember these key terms here: the supplicant, the authenticator, and the authentication server. The supplicant, this is the person who's trying to log in or authenticate into something. The authenticator, this is what you are trying to authenticate into. The authentication server, they're giving you the yay or the nay, whether your authentication was successful or not successful. All right, so how does this work? When Kenny wants to log into this web server, he can try to, right? He's gonna pass some credentials. We'll keep the credentials really simple, username and password. He's gonna pass over a username and password to the web server. Question for you all. Is the web server going to authenticate Kenny based off of his credentials?
Yes, as long as he has an account on there.
Is the web server going to do it?
No, the radius server.
So what does the web server do with the credentials?
Passes it over.
Right. So the web server is going to take these credentials and pass it over to the authentication server, which is Radius, right? That's a AAA server. Authentication, authorization, accounting. So they're going to pass it over there. And then, yes, Kenny, once we get to the Radius server, the Radius server is either going to approve or deny these credentials. They have to match what Radius has, what the authentication server has. So if it matches, you get the green light, and Radius gives the web server that green light, the assertion that you do have valid credentials. Now the web server will open a port for Kenny to access whatever resources he needs to access on that web server. Right, that's the 802. That is the 802.1x process. It's a port-based authentication service. Right, in order for you to use this web server here, right, you have to successfully authenticate. After you successfully authenticate, we will open up a port for you to access the web server or whatever the authenticator is in that process. It could be a router, it could be a VPN, it could be anything that you're trying to authenticate into.
Right, thank you.
Yep.